Welcome back to Cards and Comics. Today I'm going to be talking about the real reason we're having all these quality control issues in the sports card hobby. And I'm going to use Topps as sort of the example or case study. However, this applies to any card manufacturer or really anyone who manufactures anything, because I have been involved in quality assurance for over 25 years. I've been a food safety, I'd say expert. I've been a quality assurance person. So these are things I know very well. And believe it or not, Topps is a food company. And so Topps actually has quality control that is very similar to what I'm very familiar with, which is the food industry. And I'm going to show you that in a second. However, I would just say that the idea around quality control in card manufacturing is actually very similar to the quality control I'm used to, which is in food manufacturing. So we'll get into the big old dirty word that we've heard a lot, which is supply chain. I know, we've talked about it before as to why it's the death of all innovation. But for this discussion, we're going to focus on a few things. One is, manufacture, product, deliver, right? Now, something in this whole process here, it doesn't say anything about quality. And this is something that is very important for people to realize. And there's going to be two big factors I talk about as to why the quality of a product goes down, the quality doesn't get managed properly. It's because in a lot of cases, quality is not value added from an ROI perspective. So if you invest in quality assurance, you may prevent issues, but in general, when you do cost accounting, you don't take that into consideration as far as cost savings against your P&L. So in most companies, when they look at quality assurance, they view it as mostly just a cost, not a way to save money. So when you're strapped for money or strapped to find resources, quality assurance is one way to kind of shortcut your way to have more product available to sell, whether or not it's of good quality. And this happens quite a bit in manufacturing environments, to where when there's a shortage of people, then sometimes you don't replace the quality team. You focus on the manufacturing side first because you want to get your service levels to your customers in the right percentages. You want to get that 80 to 90% service level so your customers are happy because they're getting product, right? So the two factors I'm going to talk about that really, I think, caused this issue with quality, and then I'm going to go into some more specific examples. One is the supply chain in terms of manufacturing and distribution. If you read about the card companies and the shortages they had, the backlogs they had for product, and the solution to most of those backlog of products for most companies is to find more vendors, right? More suppliers. And so when you do that, two things happen. One is you're introducing more complexity into your supply chain. You're introducing more complexity into your quality assurance program. So, if Topps, Panini, Upper Deck went out and sourced more manufacturing capability, then they had to ensure that the same level of quality control, the same level and controls that are in place for their, let's say their current manufacturer are installed for these new companies, these new manufacturing sites. And believe me, I've done it hundreds of times. It's complicated. It's hard to do. Second factor is there was, and still is to some extent, a shortage of people, of availability of people. And even if you can find people today to do these kind of jobs, mostly you're training people from scratch. They have no experience in some of these areas, such as manufacturing of cards, right? And so the process of manufacturing cards, from watching YouTube videos and just reading about it, it takes multiple steps. There's got to be multiple controls implemented along the way to ensure that you get the right product. And a lot of people wrongly think that Topps manufactures cards. They do not. Topps contracts the manufacturing to third parties. And so those third parties are the ones that are really responsible for the quality of the product. Topps has oversight, in the industry that I'm in, we call it verification and validation of the control standards that are put in place. You have to verify and validate that whatever controls you put in place to ensure the product you make is of a certain quality, in my world, a certain safety, then that is up to the company that owns the brand to install. The manufacturing facilities have a certain duty to stick to the specifications and standards that they agree to in the contract. That is how these sort of relationships work. You have a quality agreement as you negotiate the contract, and that quality agreement, it sets the terms and conditions for how you're going to manufacture products, and basically you agree to the terms that the quality standards that the company that you're going to work with give you. That is part of this, negotiation of packages, right? When you onboard new companies, in general, sometimes companies aren't used to working with that level of control, that level of standards. So if you were making greeting cards, and all of a sudden you say, well, we can maybe make sports cards, but we've never had to serial number or do some of the things that sports cards are needed, which is the multi-level process steps to create, jersey cards, to do random insert, things like that. That would take a lot of controls and standard operating procedures to be implemented and trained at that facility. Two, someone's going to have oversight to ensure that those things and those steps are happening. So if you take into the fact that at the same time that we had a labor shortage, that Topps was expanding its co-man network, I guarantee what happened was they didn't have enough quality assurance oversight to manage that expanded retail or that expanded manufacturing network to ensure that all its controls and all of its standards are being applied effectively across all manufacturers. And that's where you see things fall through the cracks. That's when you see things happen that create problems for companies such as Topps, such as Upper Deck. And so going back to this idea that Topps is doing this in a way that's somewhat intentional or that they don't care, I guarantee you 1,000% that Topps and these companies care a whole bunch about this, because it's their business. It's what they do. So they're not trying to do this on purpose, because again, they want it to be very quiet. When they manufacture products, they want to deliver what they promised. They don't want consumer complaints. They don't want people to be upset. Now, Topps has other partners. So like this precision machining company, talks about being able to create, these multi-layered molds, or, the printing plates that create the ability to do these kind of really cool engravings and patch cards. So like they have to partner along the way, not just the manufacturing company. So they have to create plates, they have to create proofs, they have to create these special die cuts, which is probably through a third party that has to work with each of those manufacturing companies. So if you think about it from a complexity, right, they may have to negotiate with 3 or 4 manufacturing sites that print the cards. Not only that, they have to work with third parties to get them the dies necessary to create whatever cards they want to make at that facility. Then they have to ensure that the printing quality, the dies that are delivered, meet those standards. And so you got to have a lot of oversight, right? Now, I was curious about Topps and just what their quality control structure looked like. And I found that on LinkedIn, there is a print quality assurance coordinator role that's been open for 2 weeks. And if we're going to go through this job description together, and I'm going to kind of highlight to you what some of these things mean. So again, it talks about fanatics. It talks about what the QA coordinator role does, right? And the QA coordinator of manufacturing. So this is a TOPS employee whose responsible in quality is with the manufacturer. So their responsibility is to be either at the manufacturer, ensuring that they're meeting those standards. And if they've got multiple manufacturers, and this person can't be everywhere all at once, right? So then they have to then create standards, right? It says standards of quality, integrity, and timeliness, right? So the idea is that this person is making sure they're adhering to the standards, producing products on time, and with integrity. Integrity means, in this case, that they're not stealing the product, that they're not doing something out the back door. Okay? The quality coordinator manufacturing interfaces the range of internal product development teams and the breadth of our external supply chain team. So if you think about it, R&D would hand off the product to this quality person and say, here's what we developed, you need to go execute it. They take it to the manufacturer and say, this is what we want to make. You know, I'm going to work with you to make sure it meets the standards of this R&D and most likely marketing team. That's the design team. And then we're going to make sure that when you produce it, our external supply chain team, which is the people that are giving you guys raw materials, the printing plates, everything you need, and picking up the product for shipment, is all, you know, doing it in the right manner. It's a smooth, you know, transition, right? Now, from what I've been told, that the main printing processes or printing plants for TOPS and most manufacturers are located in Dallas, Texas. So this position's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Makes a lot of sense. So responsibilities, again, develop and maintain strong relationships with current and potential vendors, right? So this is very important to keep in mind, that this person would onboard new suppliers. They would take on the, you know, if you've got 3 printing press companies, 5 plate manufacturers, 2 companies that provide film, whatever it is, you know, you could be even maybe, you know, specifying what ink needs to be used, right? So they could be doing all kinds of stuff at TOPS to ensure that they get exactly what they want. Work cross-functionally to review and maintain internal SOPs with regards to quality as necessary. So again, you know, making sure that the standard procedures to follow to make these products is being adhered to and updated to ensure that it's being done. Maintain and update vendor qualifications. Again, when you bring on new manufacturers, you qualify them. You ensure that they can actually do what you're wanting them to do. A lot of companies can tell you, yeah, I can make this, I can make that. But then when you try to make it, you know, you run trials, you do tests, you find out later on they really can't. That they actually don't have the technology, the capability, the people, the training, whatever it is, they actually cannot make that product. So you then can't qualify them. Audit vendors. So again, this person's supposed to go to the vendors, audit them in any second party processes. So second party processes is where you're going to take, let's say, the printed cards and then add that second layer, which is probably the autographs, the patch pieces. And so that secondary process is being done by, you know, another party, and it may be done by TOPS, which I don't think so. It's probably done by another, you know, company that specializes in, let's say, specialty processes that, you know, they've hired to insert these, you know, pieces and ensure that all these things are being done properly for pack out. Now, work with purchasing on testing needs and schedules for new raw materials. So again, there's some level of quality control around the board stock. So they make sure that the product, the cardboard's tested and meets certain standards before it's shipped to the companies. Attend product walkthroughs, and BOM is bill of material reviews. So again, they're telling this quality person that they're going to walk through, and these are what I call trials. So we're going to walk through how we're going to make this with this manufacturer to ensure they can do it. BOM reviews is basically ensuring that at the end of the day, when they make something, they utilize the proper techniques, or they utilize the right level of materials, so the cost of the product matches what was designed. When you work with these third parties, you have to tell them sort of what the cost structure you're shooting for, they come back to you with a quote, how much it's going to cost to make this product. And then part of it is to ensure that the company didn't have tons of waste. They didn't, let's say, burn through half your roll stock setting up the printing press. And therefore, you lose half of your cards that you were going to make because they burned up half of the stock just setting the machine up. That is something that would cause, your cost to go up. And so that's what these guys do. They evaluate the risk and efficiency. So they're trying to determine, again, yield. Communicate to the product development team to drive costs. So they're asking the quality person to help them save money. And this is where things kind of flip a little bit in the quality assurance world. I agree that quality assurance should be looking for ways to reduce waste and improve efficiency and quality, but sometimes those become more of the driving force than catching mistakes. So if this quality person is out there and given the mandate to go out there and save money, to find efficiencies, they're not really looking for quality issues. They're looking for ways to save money, and that does create a conflict of interest if we want them to be focused on the product quality. Manage on-site and in-process quality assurance checks. So they're asking them to go out and do testing and do live product and box case audits. So these are teardowns. It's where you take product off the line, bust it, determine that everything was inserted properly. There's no scratches. There's no, issues with the card quality. Now, this is where we can say, based on everyone's feedback from, product breaks and, just recent issues, this probably is not being done to the level that it needs to be done. This position is open as of now. So they don't have enough people probably to cover all the manufacturing sites it would take to do these kind of in-plant testing that's necessary. Because would we be getting cards that are damaged? Would we be getting cards that are scratched? If there was someone verifying the quality of the product live while it's being made. So this goes back to the idea that the manufacturing facility has a duty to stick within the standards, right? This quality person is there to audit. They come in once a week maybe, or once a month, and they say, okay, I'm going to walk through the lines. I'm going to look through all these different tests and procedures and verify, I'm going to verify your efficiencies, your yields, your printing process. I'm going to verify your quality. I'm going to do some testing. I'm going to do some box teardowns, case teardowns. I'm going to, audit, all this stuff. And if they don't catch it during that one time they're there that week or that month, which I call like the, kind of like the shot in the dark approach, all the rest of the time, the company itself that manufactures is supposed to be doing all that. And so if Topps is short people to go out and do that, and the company is short people to do that, it's not getting done. So you could either manufacture without that level of control or just not manufacture. And I think we all know in these circumstances that they're going to produce this product. And so they've made the choice. They've made the choice, I guarantee 100%, to manufacture these products without the level of controls and verification they normally would have if they were able to fulfill all these roles and have every position filled with the level of oversight they really would prefer to have. They've made a choice. So from a consumer perspective, you're feeling that choice that they made to go forward without enough quality assurance oversight in the manufacturing facility and probably at the Topps corporate level, which is why this position's open. Like, they need more people out there. Again, collaborate, with the Fanatics team and, to understand challenges and pain points. So they're trying to okay, where can we alleviate problems? The manufacturer's saying that the cardboard company has got a 12-week, lead time to get product to us, but you're ordering products on a 6-week cycle. So, we can't guarantee that we'll get you the product because you're ordering product before we even know if the paper's coming. And the paper company says we can only get you half the paper. But I'm going through nightmares. I've lived my own life just thinking about it. So yeah, this does happen. Okay. So, the person there is to help alleviate, bring those issues back to the Topps team and say, hey, what can we do to help alleviate these problems? Okay. They want 4 years of experience in commercial printing and finishing. I guarantee you, if they have someone who has any quality assurance background, regardless of printing experience or not, they're probably going to be talking to them. Again, there's no, let's say, college education required. This is really someone who's been at a printer maybe once or twice, you know, or has worked in quality assurance somewhere else. But again, this is very similar to how the quality works at, let's say, food manufacturing. And Topps does make candy, and so they're familiar with it. This seems like they've taken some of the standards they utilize for food and applied them to cards. So, in summary, the idea is this, by expanding the co-manufacturing or the manufacturing plants that Topps had to utilize and its partners to do all these products, that has stressed most likely the quality assurance teams. They need people. They got an open role right here to come in and help do more oversight. But those manufacturing facilities probably didn't have enough people, training, internal SOP development to really do the processes that Topps wanted them to do to the level of standard that they expected and that we expect. And so now it's going to take time. It's going to take probably years to get everything going perfectly with all this supply chain complexity. If the card market shrinks again, where you don't need these third parties that are kind of fringe, they're kind of like emergency overflow suppliers, then maybe Topps can consolidate down to just the manufacturing facilities that can do this really well already. And then this quality control issue goes away just because you consolidated, but we'll see. But that's my take on it. That's how I look at it from a quality assurance perspective. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll talk to you next time on Cards and Comics. Bye.